If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I'm so happy to sew along with you the Deskasow Organizer Bag by Country Cow Designs. I learned so much from this bag. It's got a really unique construction. It's not super hard. It's only got this one really hard part, which is the boxing of these corners, but really I believe it's marked as an intermediate pattern, but if you take it slow and have some patience, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. It's the only tough part of the bag. Let me give you a quick tour of this bag. So this is one that you definitely want to follow, especially if you are on a domestic machine. Joe's suggestions for fabrics, even on an industrial machine, mainly because of doing these corners. You don't want to use any fabric that is too slippery. I mean, you can, but it may make you cry just a little bit if it is too slippery. You will see what I mean when we get into that. So I have chosen for my main exterior a cotton, and it goes all the way around. This is just a cotton fabric that I picked up from Fabricland. I have gone ahead and I've done vinyl accents. So this is vinyl from Galaxy Kustoms. I did rather than doing the webbing handles and crossbody, I did vinyl ones, but you can definitely do them in webbing as well. So again, you got the two front pockets, double zip closure, and this is what I love about this the most, is look how far this zipper goes all the way down each side. This side and this side. And what that does is make it so you can open it up big and wide. Look at that. So it has a zipper pocket on one side here, a large slip pocket, three more little slip pockets, two for holding like debit cards or credit cards, and then another one for your phone. A large, it's called a magazine slip pocket on this side for papers, or maybe if you had like an iPad mini, it would fit in there, as well as a center divider pocket with zipper. So many pockets in this bag. It's amazing. Amazing. Again, I used cotton for my lining as well. Definitely follow her interfacing in this. Now, one thing that's really cool about this bag is you actually put your main stabilizer, which I have used a Decovil Heavy. You can use Peltex as well. It goes in almost at the very end. So this bag does get turned out a couple of times, but because we do not have that stabilizer in there yet, super easy to turn out. All my cotton pieces I have backed with a medium woven interfacing. I have used EBFuse Light, which is similar to SF101. Behind my straps here, I do have small strips of Decovil Light, just like she has in the pattern for extra stability for these optional handles. You do not need to do the optional handles if you don't want to. All my hardware is from Emmaline bags. And of course, my interfacing is from Emmaline bags as well. Things I would do differently in this bag. The next one I make, which we actually are doing in the March 2024 Thursday classes, we are going to add an extra zipper pocket on to the opposite side. And the only reason I am doing that is when it came to putting the heavy stabilizer in, the side that had the zipper, I found it super easy to get it in place. I found I just had a lot more control over my stabilizer to get it where it needed to be. And for this other side without the zipper, I found it a little more challenging. So I think adding that second zipper pocket also adds a pocket, but also just makes it that much easier to get the Decovil Heavy or Peltex onto this side as well. So whenever I make this bag, I will always do the double zippers, leaving the bottom of them open, of course, and they're lining so we can get that placement of the Decovil Heavy or Peltex in there. That is a Brandy thing. That's just something that I think would make it easier for me. Let me know what you think of that. Other than that, I followed, actually for this one, I followed the pattern exactly as written. Again, the toughest part of it was boxing these bottom corners. You will see what I mean when we get there. It's not that it's thick or anything, it's just kind of fidgety, but you just squish the bag. That's why we do not have the heavy interfacing in it right off the hop. So you'll see that is the hardest part. And besides that, everything else is actually pretty easy in this bag. Thank you, Joe, so much for allowing me to make this tutorial. And how about we get to making this bag?
You're going to need some rivets, number 5 zipper tape, 2 swivel clasps, a slider, 2 D-rings, and 4 number 5 zipper pulls. For pieces, you're going to need your handles and a crossbody strap, your main pattern piece A, exterior and lining, watching how you cut these out, as we have for our exterior pieces a slight corner cut out of them. Pattern piece B, to exterior to lining for your slip pocket. 2 strap connectors. 4 small wings, exteriors and lining, so 8 pieces in all. 2 sets of your large wings, exterior and linings. Your 4 divider pocket pieces, to exterior to lining. Your zipper tab. Your magazine pocket, 2 lining pieces for that. Your card slot / slip pocket piece. Zipper pocket lining pieces, and a zipper pocket facing piece, as well as Decovil Heavy for your main stabilizer and your base stabilizer. And 4 pieces of Decovil Light for your optional handles if you're doing that for your handle stabilizer. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make my crossbody and handles off camera. If you're using webbing for this, you can definitely skip this part. You need a class on how to make handles and crossbody straps. It's down below in the description. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pattern piece B for my slip pocket piece. Make sure it is orientated properly. You're going to measure in from the left and the right side, as well as from the bottom as per the pattern measurements. And this is going to give you a guide where you're going to go ahead and fuse your Decovil Light pieces for our strap stabilizer. So do that for both. I've gone ahead and done that already. Now you're going to take your handle pieces and you're going to measure up from the short ends as per the pattern measurements. And then you're going to measure in from the 2 sides and mark in as per the pattern measurements. And this is going to give you a guide where you are going to be placing your handles. So I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape, about 6 inches or so of that on each side of the wrong side of the handles. And then I'm going to use my ruler lined up at those marks that we just drew on our slip pocket pieces and line my handle up nice and straight along there, matching it at the bottom and all the way up. I'm going to put a clip here just to kind of hold that in place so it doesn't go anywhere at the top here. Do the same with the opposite side, making sure your handle or your webbing is not twisted. Bring it down, place it nice and straight, using that double-sided tape to hold it in place. And then what we're going to do is we're going to sew up with 1/8 of an inch up each of the sides of the handles, across that line we drew on the handles and back down to secure those in place. This is what that looks like done, and it should be going through your Decovil Light pieces on the back. Set those aside for now. Now I'm going to take my connector pieces here. I've already drawn a center line down the wrong side of these. I'm going to use some double-sided tape here, fold the long edges into that center line, and then I'm going to top stitch down each of those folded sides for both. Once that's done, I'm going to use a little bit of double-sided tape on the bottom wrong side of our connector pieces, and then put the D-ring on and fold these wrong sides together using the tape to secure in place. Go ahead and set those aside for now. Now I've got my lining pieces for my slip pocket. I'm going to measure in from the left and the right side. On the right side of the lining pieces, as per the pattern measurements, I'm going to take my pattern piece A exteriors, and where that curvy part starts, I'm just going to line that up right up at that line we just drew on the lining. These are right sides together. I'm going to just put a pin in here, just hold it in place, and we're going to sew around this curve with the seam allowance stated in the pattern. Once that is done, we're going to go ahead and we are going to take our pinking shears and we're going to trim that seam allowance down all the way around that curve. And yes, we are cutting quite a big chunk out of the lining. That is what we want to do. Once that is done, you're going to go ahead and you are going to press these wrong sides together, making sure you are pressing out that seam nice and taut. Just take it to your iron and give that a good press. Now that that's pressed, we're going to go ahead and top stitch right along that seam with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. We're going to grab our slip pocket piece that we had our handles on and that exterior piece we had, and we're going to once again line up where that curvy part of the exterior is. Both of these are right side up, right up at that 1 inch mark that we already marked on our slip pocket piece. And you're going to go ahead and line up the slip pocket pieces like so, pulling the exterior out of the way. And then we are going to go ahead and we are going to sew around all 3 of these sides once we have them clipped in place, making sure we do not sew through our exterior main panel pieces. I'm going to have to trim mine up here. I can see that my lining is slightly longer, and that is perfectly fine. So again, we're going to sew down here, across here, up here, and then right at the top here, we're going to go ahead and just base the top corners to the lining, a slip pocket piece, and the exterior piece. That all done, and I've gone ahead and I've put 2 rivets in here backed with some scraps of Decovil Heavy pieces on both sides. I've also put on my nameplate. Okay, now what we want to do is find our top center like so, folding it in half, doing a small mark or a snip within the seam allowance. Going to make sure that is definitely center. And this is for our back piece. Now we want to draw a 3/4 inch line on our connector pieces. Again, you're putting these on your back panel. You're going to measure down as per the pattern measurements for the placement of these connectors. So the D-ring hardware will be going into the center of the bag here. And you're going to line that line we just drew up with the shape of the bag. So this will angle those connectors slightly down like so, clip in place, and then we're going to go ahead and base these in place. Okay, so that's what that looks like there. Now we're going to take our main zipper. I do not have my pulls on it. What we want to do is we want to find the center of our zipper. We want to mark it on the front and on the back. And then from the bottom short edges, you're going to mark 2 lines as per the pattern pieces. One is going to be used for boxing the corners and the other is going to be used for putting our zipper pulls on. Now you want to use a pen for these 2 bottom ones that will not disappear. They will not show when we have the final construction of the bag, but these are crucial for boxing our corners and putting our zipper pulls on nice and straight. So mark them on both the wrong side and the right sides of our zipper tape. Once that is done, go ahead and pull our zipper tape apart. Now I'm going to take my zipper tape right side down. So it's right sides together with our main back panel, and we are going to clip together the center of that. We're going to mark that 2-inch line that we marked on the back of our zipper tape with the bottom of the boxed corner here, just along that side. Same with the other side. And then we're going to evenly distribute this all the way around that curve. Now, when you get to the corners of the zipper tape, they may not look like they want to fit around. What you can do is put little teeny tiny, you don't want to go too far with these, 1/8 of an inch, scant 1/8 of an inch little snips around that curve to help spread that fabric out. And then we will be later on putting on some fray check on those snips just to ensure that our zipper tape will not fray with use. So again, I'm doing that on the opposite corner here, just very scant 1/8 of an inch just to help bring that zipper tape around that curve. Then we're going to go ahead and we are going to base this on with an 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. Once that is done, I've done it for both the front and the back panels, and I'm going to go ahead and take my fray check just around where I did those little snips just to ensure my zipper tape will not fray with use. Now we're going to take our card slot piece. I've already marked my lines as per the pattern measurements, marked my top and my bottom. Now that first line we drew from each of the top and the bottom, we're going to fold the short ends into that line, wrong sides together, give that a good press. The next line from the bottom, we're going to press wrong sides together, give it a press, and then we're going to top stitch along that fold. Right along here. Once that's top stitched, we're going to go to the next line, bring it right sides together and give it a good press like so. Now what we want to do is we want to mark in as per the pattern measurements from each side to create our 2 card slots. So this one has 2 card slots and then a slip pocket in the middle of these card slots. On these lines, we're going to go ahead and we are going to stitch up these lines to create those 3 separate pockets. So that is what I've done here, making sure my cards fit in well. Now we're going to fold this right sides together, matching up our short sides, clip these in place. We're not going to worry about clipping along the top part. We are only going to be sewing up the sides of this for now. So go ahead and sew up these sides. Once that's done, just kind of square up your corners like so without clipping your stitches. This will just help us get nice pointy corners. And turn this right side out. And then take this to your iron and give it a really good press. Once that is done, I'm just going to use a little bit of double-sided tape to go and hold this bottom, and then go ahead and top stitch the top sewn seam of this. I forgot to do this. I do this later on, but you go ahead and top stitch that. And then you're going to take your lining panel and you're going to install your zipper pocket. I have done that off camera. If you need a class on how to do that, it's down below in the description. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use some double-sided tape along the bottom edge of that slip pocket. You could definitely use pins here if you're not using a canvas of any sort. You're going to measure up from the bottom as per the pattern measurements, and this is going to give you the placement of this card slot / slip pocket piece, and you're going to place it nice and centered down. You're also going to make sure before you go to sew this on that you're going to flip that zipper pocket lining piece up and out of the way, because you do not want to accidentally sew through your zipper pocket. So flip this up and out of the way like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to top stitch this in place down this side, the bottom, and up the other side. And that will have closed up the bottom opening at the bottom of this and created a slip pocket. I also went ahead and put some rivets in there just to make a little extra security along those stitches. Now we're going to take our magazine pocket. So one of these, I have my EBFuse Heavy or Decovil Light outside of the seam allowances. That's my exterior one. And we're putting it right sides together with the lining piece. We're going to clip together the top and bottom edges of this, and then we're going to go ahead and sew across both of these edges. Once that's sewn, you're going to turn out this tube like so, take it to the machine, and give it a really good press. And then we were going to go ahead and top stitch just along the top part, which I have done already. And similar to how we did the other slip pocket, I'm going to go ahead and put some tape along the bottom, measure up as per the pattern, and put this in place. Now the sides will not quite line up with the main lining piece, and that is because we want them to be slightly larger than each other, because what's going to happen is when you go to line up those raw edges, it's going to kind of create this little billow, which is what we want in order for our pocket to have some give to put some items in there. So you will see that the lining piece will look like it's trying to curl up a little. That is exactly what we want, just to make it so our pocket has a little bit more give for when we go to put things in. Once you have that clipped in place here, see how it has that billow? You're going to go ahead and baste that in place. So I basted down the side, across the bottom, I top stitched to put that in place and basted up the other side, and that is the magazine pocket complete. Now we're going to do our center divider pocket. So I have my zipper with my zipper pull closing to the left. I did my zipper tab slightly different. I kind of folded it in like bias tape, where I put the two raw edges into the middle and then folded upon itself. You're going to put this on the end of the zipper tape and top stitch through that to create that stop. On the side that opens, you're going to fold the zipper tape down on a 90-degree angle like so, and hold with some clips or hand tack this in place. Do the other side just as even. I'm going to go ahead, take this to the machine, and baste these in place to hold those curves where they need to be. So that is done. You can go ahead and trim off any excess so it is even with the zipper tape. I'm going to burn some of those things to keep it from fraying. Find your center by folding this in half and marking it on the wrong side and the right side within the seam allowance. Okay, so now I have my zipper pocket divider pocket exterior, one exterior and one lining. So the exterior piece will have your EBFuse Heavy or Decovil Light outside of the seam allowances. Find the top and bottom of both of these pieces. You will be repeating this with the other two pieces later. Now you're going to take your lining piece right side up. I'm going to use double-sided tape. You can definitely use clips if you prefer. I'm going to put some tape along the top. And then I'm going to take my zipper. It doesn't matter which way it's closing, but you're going to match up that center, stick it or clip it in place. Then you're going to take your exterior piece, put some tape along the top. Again, make sure you have your orientation going the right way if you're using a directional fabric. You're going to put this right sides together with that zipper and lining piece. Match up that center so they're nice and even. And then we're going to take this to the machine and we're going to sew across here with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to flip these wrong sides together and top stitch with 1/8 inch seam allowance. Did that with the opposite side, and this is what that looks like. Now what we want to do is bring our side corners together, bringing these lining parts right sides together, kind of taking all 4 layers like this and clipping them in place. Yes, this edge is left raw. That is exactly what we want. You just want to make sure these are all nice and even, making sure that they line up nice where the zipper is, so the zipper is nice and straight, and when you look down on it, you're seeing the top of the zipper tape. Now we're going to go ahead and we're also going to do the bottoms like so. Then we're going to baste around these 3 sides. That is our divider pocket complete for now. Okay, so now we're going to work on our wings. So I have my 2 larger wings, 2 exterior, 2 lining. I have folded up the bottom edges of all 4 of these pieces as per the pattern. Now we're going to take these and put them right sides together. Make sure if you're using a directional fabric that you do have the folded edge along the bottom and all the other edges going up, so they are going the correct way. Clip together the 3 sides that do not have the folded edge. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to sew around those 3 sides. Once that's done, you can go ahead and trim your corners at an angle close to the stitching just to help get nice pointy corners. And then go ahead and turn this through that bottom open edge. You'll want to go ahead and poke out all of those corners nice and sharp so they will look good, and give that a good press. Once we have both of those pressed, we're going to go ahead and top stitch the top and bottom short sides, closing up that turning hole. Now we're going to take our 4 wings, smaller wings, doing the similar thing, except for, especially if you're using a directional fabric, you want to make sure you do this. So what I'm going to do is situate these so they are going the right way. On my 2 I'm working on right now on the right, I'm going to clip the top, the right, and the bottom sides. And that's where we're going to sew. And then on the other side, we're going to do the opposite and clip the top, the left, and the bottom sides. And this will just ensure that our directional prints are going the right direction. If you're not using a directional print, you don't have to worry about doing it this way, as long as you're only sewing the 2 short sides and 1 long side. So go ahead and sew all of those, leaving the 1 long side open for turning. So that is done. Again, trim up your corners nice and close to the thread so you get a nice and sharp corner, and turn these right side out like so, poking out those corners, and you'll want to give those a super good press again. Top stitch the top and bottom short edges. Now we're going to take our lining panel like so. I've marked my top and bottom centers. I have my wings. I'm lining up the raw edges of 2 of my small wings, making sure my fabric's going in the right direction. You're going to measure up from this part of the box corner as per the pattern measurements. Bring these right side lining sides together, right at that line, clip in place. Kind of bringing it around the shape of this main lining piece. Do the same with the opposite side. And then go ahead and baste this in place. You will do the same with the other lining panel. Once that is done, I'm going to take the one that has my zipper pocket on it. I'm going to take my divider pocket with my pull closing to the left. We're going to have our bottom centers of our divider pocket and our main lining pocket. Match them up like so. Clip in place. Make sure it's definitely centered. Pull your pocket out of the way and baste that in place. Now I'm going to take my main back panel. I'm going to put these right sides together like so. Match up that top center mark, sandwiching that zipper into the middle. You're going to match up the bottom box corners. I'm just going to make sure that those 2-inch and 1-inch lines are still showing. We will definitely need those here momentarily. Do the same with the opposite side. And then just like we did before, we're going to go ahead and evenly distribute that fabric all the way around and clip in place, bringing these wrong sides together, leaving the bottom completely open. Now, when you get to these corners, you're going to want to use your sense of feel here to make sure that your teeth aren't trying to fold up into the seam. You want to make sure you are definitely not going to be sewing through your teeth by accident, so you'll definitely be using your sense of feel here to make sure everything is laying where it needs to lie. Once that's done, we're going to go ahead and sew around there with 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now you will want to change into your zipper foot here to ensure a straight, non-wavy zipper and to get nice and close to that D-ring hardware. Went ahead and I took my lining panel and my front panel from before and did the exact same thing. Go ahead and turn both of these right side out through the open bottom. You want to make sure you're pressing that seam out really good along that zipper. If you haven't used any vinyl or anything that'll melt, you can definitely take this to the iron and give it a good press. I will be doing that for sure, making sure I avoid my vinyl slip pocket. Now what you're going to want to do is make sure these wings are tucked in nice and tight and away from that zipper tape. So bringing the lining pieces right sides together. These huge clips really help hold those in place where I need them to be. And then you're going to go ahead and top stitch all the way along that zipper for both pieces. So that's both panels done. Make sure that your wings were definitely caught and they're away from your zipper teeth. Again, we've left the bottoms open. Now what we want to do is take these and put them lining sides together. You want to take the bottoms of your exterior pieces, flip them out of the way and secure with the clip so you're not accidentally sewing through them. And then we're going to line the lining bottoms up like this. So this will have 3 layers to it. Well, more than that. You'll have your divider pocket and your 2 lining pieces along this bottom seam. Clip them together. And ensuring you do not sew through your exterior pieces, you're going to go ahead and sew across the bottom here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. That is closed up the bottom of the lining here. Now what we want to do is take this to our iron and you want to open the seam up the best you can like I've done here. Then you're going to take your Decovil Heavy or Peltex piece, put it glue side down nice and centered on those back side of the lining and go ahead and press that in place. Now we're going to go as well and sew through the 2 long sides of that Decovil Heavy or Peltex piece to secure it in place. Because we will be turning this out a few times and we know how Decovil Heavy likes to pull away, this will just help keep it in place. So again, ensure that you are only sewing through the linings of this. Make sure your divider pocket is flipped out of the way for each side you sew. So right now I have my divider pocket to the left. Once I'm finished sewing the right side, I'm going to flip my divider pocket over to the right side and sew down the opposite side. So this is what that looks like, and you can see my top stitching through each of the side. I did not catch that divider pocket. Now what we want to do is measure in on the wrong side of our exterior panels, like so, as per the pattern measurements from both sides. And this is going to be our turning hole. So what we're going to do here is we are going to turn this wrong side out again through each of these. So this is why we do not have our exterior stabilizer in yet, because we do have to flip this around a couple times. So once you get this around, what this is going to do is enable us to bring our exterior pieces right sides together. So squish, squish, squish everything inside so you can bring together these two bottom seams, clip them in place. We're not going to worry about those box corners just yet. But what we're going to do is in between those lines that we had drawn on, we're going to backstitch at the start and draw, so all the way to that line, backstitch, leave the center part open, do the same with the opposite side. So we are leaving a turning hole in the exterior bottom of the bag. Okay, so that's done. Now we are to the hardest part of the bag, I promise you. So remember those lines that we drew on here? What we want to do is that 1 inch line, we want to make sure it lines up when we put our zipper pull on. I've already put my pull on, made sure that line lines up, and that's going to ensure that our zipper is going on straight. Now you're going to want to squish the bag and bring the zippers together so you can do up that zipper. Now this is going to look like a hot mess, but trust me, it's perfection how it goes together. And this is the hardest part. If you get through this, you are laughing. So keep kind of bringing that zipper, the zipper tape either side of it together to pull that pull on about halfway, and you can kind of see it in that opening we left in the exterior. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to take a pin or a clip and put it on the closed side of that zipper, around the closed side of the pull, to make sure that that pull is not going to pull all the way off again. We want to make sure it is at least in the center of the bag. Again, you can see here, it takes a little bit of work to get there. Just keep squishing, squish, squish, squish this bag. And I'm going to put the clip here to hold it in place so the pull goes nowhere. Now we're going to box these corners. So on one side, I'm going to put some double-sided tape. This definitely helps. Box this corner because we don't want anything shifting. So you're going to put it right along here. And then you're going to bring the center seam of that bottom seam of, I believe this is the right side, to that 2 inch line that we drew on the zipper tape, just like so, and stick it in place. You can use some clips here as well to just help ensure that's not going to go anywhere. So that's going to hold this one side in place. Make sure it's nice and straight with no tucks. Flip it over to the lining side like we have here. And you can use more double-sided tape if you wanted, but you're going to bring it to the 2 inch line again, matching up that center seam mark and that whole box corner, making sure the front and the back are clipped together nice and even. Use lots of clips here if you can. Use double-sided tape if you can. Again, this is the hardest part of the bag. Take your time. I know you can do it. I'm also going to just kind of clip down the sides here just to ensure nothing is going to slip out of the way. Make sure that both sides are lined up, and you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew across that box corner with the seam allowance in the pattern. So that first seam we went in with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. We're going to go in again with a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance on both corners. Okay, so that is all done. I am going to trim my zipper tape up a little bit, but I am leaving about 3/4 of an inch overhang. Now what we want to do is bring that, push our zipper pulls towards the ends of the zippers now. They are secured. It is good. You want it as open as it possibly can. And then that opening that we left in the exterior bottom, we're going to clip in place and then sew across there to close it up. So that is done. Now, you're going to reach in through the opening in the zipper pocket. If you were smarter than me, you would have left your zipper pocket open. I'm just going to kind of finagle it so my zipper pocket's open. Then you're going to turn the entire bag through that zipper pocket. This is why we do not have our exterior interfacing in yet, because it makes it really easy to turn this through because the bag is still soft and squishy. So go ahead and take your time, massage it through. Don't pull anything too hard, just kind of squish it and push it and squish it and push it until you have it all the way through. Once you have it turned through, go ahead and double check that your box corners look good. Mine look amazing. Press out all of those seams, just like so. You can go ahead, massage it all out, see how it goes. You can zip it up to make sure it looks good before we continue on. So far, so good. We're not done yet though. Okay, so now we're going to put in our exterior interfacing. Now, I kind of wish I had done 2 zipper pockets here because it was really easy to put this in through the zipper pocket side, not so easy through the opposite side. So what you want to do is kind of go in through your zipper pocket. You want to make sure that the glue side is going to be facing the exterior of the bag. I kind of folded it up like this, pushed it into here, and then folded my Decovil Heavy piece out. Again, the lining or the sticky part will be against the exterior of the bag. So make sure it goes into all of those corners. It's going to feel a little bit awkward here, but the way the Decovil Heavy main piece works is the bottom should go right into the corners of those boxed corners. So that is where I'm finagling it in there. You can see here, it's gone into those corners. You're going to go ahead and you are going to press this from the lining side and from the exterior side to fuse that Decovil Heavy piece in place. So I've gone ahead and I'm going to do it with my zipper pocket side, the opposite side. This side went in so much easier because I had more control over the side as I had the zipper pocket right there. So the next time I make this, I will probably put a zipper pocket on the opposite side just for ease of placing this Decovil Heavy piece. That is one modification I would do, and I definitely am going to try that with the next one. So again, place it in place. Make sure it is going under our zipper lining pocket, which we have here. I have already fused it all in place. It looks good. Now we're going to work on our wings. So I've taken my long wings and I folded them right sides together for our lining pieces. So our linings are right sides together. Make sure it's going in the direction you want. You're going to put them around the divider pocket so it is going to contain those raw edges of the divider pocket, and it should go from top to bottom. Make sure it's nice and snug in there. You want to make sure you are catching that divider pocket in our stitching. Same with the opposite side. I'm just trimming off any stray strands and enclose it around, folding it around the divider pocket raw edges like so. Again, making sure if you're using a directional fabric that they are facing the right way. Again, I got lots of stray threads from my cotton fabric kind of fraying a little bit, clipping those away. Now we're going to go from top to bottom stitching these. You're going to go in once with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and another time in with a 1/4 inch seam allowance for top stitching, just to ensure that you have completely caught those raw edges. Once that was done, I went and I just put 2 rivets in there just to help with extra security. I'm going to go into these corners just with some fray check, just to be certain that there are no raw edges showing there, and this will just quit any fraying. Now what we want to do is bring it right sides together. So our 2 lining pieces are going to be right sides together, like so. And I'm going to take, you kind of got to squish one layer into the middle. So you have your divider pocket here, and the panel that is on the bottom, you're going to take one of the small wings and you are going to bring it together with the large wing on the divider pocket. And then that other panel is kind of sandwiched in the middle, as you can see. So again, the panel that's facing on the bottom, you're going to bring the small wing up to the large wing of the divider panel on both sides, kind of squishing that other side of the bag on the inside. So you've kind of made a little bit of a sandwich here. And then you're going to go ahead and you're going to sew up these side seams of these wings to hold them in place, ensuring that you are not sewing through anything but those side wing seams here. So that is done. Looks good. Now what we want to do is we want to kind of poke this out right side out, because we still have to do the other wings. So pull this right side out. It's a little bit tougher because we do have our stabilizer in there now, but completely doable. It's a nice and wide opening. Okay, once you have it right side out like this, you once again want to bring this right sides together to access the other small wing and the other side of the large wing, and do the exact same thing we did with the opposite side. Once that's sewn in place, go ahead and turn your bag right side out. So really the only hard part was doing those box corners. The rest is pretty simple. Once you have that all done, all that's left to do is to close up the lining zipper pocket piece here, so those edges are folded under, and go ahead and stitch across there. Put on your crossbody strap. I went in and gave it a good press just to make sure all my stabilizer was where it was going to be. Pat yourself on the back. Look how amazing this looks. Again, it wasn't too hard to do except for that one part. And we're done.
All right, that's it. That's all. What'd you think of that? So you can see how these bottom corners were a little bit tricky, but not too bad. I'll take it. If that's the only really tough part about this bag, I will take it. Anyways, if at any time you did like this tutorial, please do give me a thumbs up. Shoot me a comment down below. Let me know what you think of this bag. If you'd like to support my channel further, you can always buy me a coffee. That's linked down below. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Check out the link to the membership classes down below in the description in case there's something there that interests you. And until the next one, I'll catch you guys again. Bye.